So what happens when you have an audition that is kind of reminiscent of American Idol, with someone trying to be like a Ryan Seacrest hosting auditions in the hood with a whole bunch of black and brown queens and trades and drag queens, and you have reality TV veterans meeting people from all over the world desperate to make it, meeting people that don't care and will fight and skip a line, to people ratcheting it up. And the worst part about it is everyone is acting like they are at the welfare line. You get none other than the Bad Boys Houston auditions. Yes. Oh, and I forgot to mention the ones from last season, the cast members, with the exception of Curtis, they acting like they Simon and Randy. And kind of like Paula too. So we're going to get into it. This is my review for the Bad Boys Houston auditions. And no, I am not going to talk about this as a fan because I got a whole lot of criticisms. Let's get into this on an early Monday morning, shall we? What's good, everyone? It's your girl, Miss Analytical. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this quiet, hot, I need some water. Monday, early morning in the a.m. It's 1:58 a.m., July 18th, 2022. Child. First of all, the weather itself is hot. But second of all, after watching and then reviewing it again, Bad Boys Houston, we know Houston, Texas is hot as it is. But these boys really brought the fire. And I'm not saying it in a good way, because as a fire sign, I'm going to be honest with you, I felt it was just too much. Okay? And that speaks volumes. So we're going to get into this. All right? So first of all, I'm listening to Janeisha, the owner's wife, introduce everyone, like the whole people are standing outside, all the guys, and she's inside the hotel or the auditorium building, whatever you call it. Now I see Shamar, and Shamar is Shekinah Joe's friend, or kind of like falling out friend, so to speak. And I'm like, okay, I see Shamar. Then I see this guy that used to call Burger, who auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance. Now, Janeisha is centered like she's on her Ryan Seacrest meets Kat from the Lady Kat, I think her name was Kat Dennings, from So You Think You Can Dance. So I believe they're trying to groom her to host other shows, which is a smart move because she has a degree. She went to the University of the Virgin Islands, and I'm going to be real with you, Janeisha, you wasting your talent just working at Zeus when you used to work at Tempo. And you got a lot to offer. I seen you do your thing. And I'm going to say, with her doing the hosting, talking to the people online, doing like the Ryan Seacrest, the cat, I think the lady's name is Dennings, whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been years since I watched So You Think You Can Dance. She really, I will give her that. She really showcased her skills. But the problem I had was not with her. The problem I had was the exploitation of the people auditioning. So you have Bad Boys, the concept of the show. And you have it as like the male version of Bad Girls. The thing is that when I envision a bad boy, I envision a strong, masculine male. Okay? I don't really envision a bunch of, I'm going to be honest with you, like flamboyant gay men. And then I'm seeing men, and I'm not even saying men because I'm seeing people who I know identify as transgenders. Okay? So I'm like, okay, how can you be on this show and you doing that? But I'm going to do the review. So first of all, you have already, even in the first 5 minutes of fight. Now, the pre-screens is like the first time you audition. So it's sort of like American Idol-esque. So before you would get to, see Simon, Paul, and Ramsey, you would have to go through like these other judges. So those judges are Curtis, who identifies as a heterosexual male. Then you have Relly B, and then you have Anthony, okay? So they get ready to set up and go into the pre-screen auditions. And then all of a sudden, there's these two guys. They're Latino. They're from NYC. And they, get into an argument with Relly B. So Relly B is a person that, minus what went down season 1, he's really not a fighter unless you come at him. So he's like, no, we're not going to do this. So Jonathan hears them say something. And so he steps to the other one and he, busts his ass because Jonathan know how to fight. So Jonathan's like, yeah, whatever. And so he takes his hat as a souvenir. Now, Jonathan rolls in previously or earlier with his monkey son. Very adorable pet. I've seen him on the with the animals. Then with the animal. And then you have Blueface Bleedum, Krishan's bull. He's also want to be one of the main judges for the second round. So they basically talk about what happened, and he keeps the hat as a souvenir. So then Natalie meets with Jonathan and Blueface to discuss, what the whole goal is for the auditions and what she's looking for. Now, I'm going to break down the auditions. So in order for the guys to make it on the show, they first have to impress Curtis, Anthony, and Relly B at the pre-screens. Once they pass that, then they go and meet the executive producers, which is Natalie, as well as Jonathan Wright and Blueface Bleedum. Okay? Once they pass that, then they're given Zeus cards and they're eligible to the final rounds. Once they pass the final rounds, that's when it's like whoever passes, then they're going to be a cast member. So I think it's going to be more people this season. So now I'm going to talk about the cast members that pretty much stood out for me. You had Jaconi Red, who was from LV and is a rapper, 33 years old, and drove 17 hours there and was very good at what he did. Very talented. Then you had Tony Perez, who's from H-Town. He basically got shot in front of Anthony's club that he owns. He got shot last year, which is sad. But he didn't get shot in front of the club. He was going to the club, but he got shot at the north side. And Anthony was like, the north side is just ghetto. It's just rough. So basically, he wants to bring awareness to basically gun violence awareness to the show. Let's go. And, they didn't give him the ticket, but, he went on. Then you had Deontay from Nevada. And the green hair looked nice, but he couldn't define what a boss was. So they basically told him go. Then you had Tokyo from Chicago. He basically, is an Aries. He said he looked better than everyone, but then he kind of fell flat. So they told him to go left. And I know being an Aries, he got tight over that. Then you had Quan from the Bronx, a stripper, but I know he strips probably for men. I think he played for both teams, kind of. And he gets to the bag and he stripped for them. Then you had Keontae, who's a rapper, a trans rapper. Very good. No, Keane, a rapper. Very good rapper. Now, Keane was from Washington, D.C. Now, I thought that Keane was trans. So, they asked Keane, how do you identify as? And Keane said, a nigga. And so, they was rolling. In other words, saying like, I identify as a man, but I dress up like gender fluid is what Keane represented. Then you have Rican Kendall from Connecticut, which, Connecticut does have a strong Puerto Rican community, i.e. Aaron Hernandez. So, drag queen, 28 years old, been doing drag for 10 years, married, and beautiful photos, but when he was giving them what they needed, it wasn't impressive them, so he fell flat. Then you had Lyndon, who goes by the name Lodge from Texas. and skips everybody, had an attitude, and said, this is season 2 of Bad Boys, but you don't know what a bad boy is because you ain't had me on your show, because y'all ain't met me yet. And so Relly B's like, who are you talking to? Who you talking to? Who you talking to? So he was like, Blade, Wesley Snipes, because, he was giving a Blade look with the black and the gloves and everything. But, he kind of fell flat, but then he came off cool. Then you had Kari from Milwaukee, kind of fell flat. Lucci from Houston kind of fell flat. Then you had London the Baddest. I liked London the Baddest. From New Jersey, sells hair and does hair and wears nails. Now, I'm going to tell you why I liked London the Baddest. I felt that London was dressed feminine, but not overly feminine, but was given very much a hood female vibes, i.e. 1990s, 2000s era, but was not being over the top with it and disrespectful with it. You understand? Like, you had some of them on that line, like Burger. So we're going to go back to Burger. Burger was a guy who, back in the early 2010s, auditioned to be on So You Think You Dance, and came off really friendly, but when it was time for him to dance, it was just horrible. It was ratchet. So the man, Nigel Lithgow, said, Burger, like, what are you doing? Like, what we need for you to do, you're not giving. So he was like, I'm from Mississippi and I had a hard life, and I really need it. And then he would get an attitude. So what happened with Burger? Burger was one of the first people I saw guys wear green hair and wear nails. So this is before gender fluidity became popular amongst gay black men, and had his eyes done and everything. So when he got to these auditions, he had like this short afro. It was like a far cry away from the green hair he wore. So back in 2011, Burger got arrested for jumping into a person's home and stealing. So he burglarized a person's home. I think he actually did a couple of years in jail. And Burger basically was trying to pick at this guy, this tall guy who looked like he was almost like 6'7". The guy's like, yo, dude, why you talking all this nonsense about me on the line? I don't even know you. So Burger is confident, and then Burger basically gets stepped to, and then Burger's backing down. But then Burger still want to save face, so then he tries to fight the man. That man basically just whopped him, smashed him across threw him across the auditorium doors. And then it was just a sad sight to see. Burger still has not redeemed himself. So we moving on from Burger. Then you have some other people that I want to mention. There was a bootleg George Zimmerman that was there. That basically made me kind of upset when I saw that. Then you had a guy named Miko, who said he was had a daughter named Ginger. He said he was well connected. Then a guy named Chris, who was very nice looking and was like, basically, if you F me over, I'ma F you up. Then you had this guy named John B. that Janeisha recognized. And he wore fur, and he was a rapper from VI, Virgin Islands. And he basically said, I'm a gay boy, and I went through a lot on the island because they don't accept, you being gay. So he spit, and he basically lived in ATL, because most West Indians, when they come to America, they either go to New York, Miami, sometimes New Jersey, which is rare. They go to Boston, they go to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, but they also go to ATL. So he basically rapped, and he was really good, and everybody liked it. Then you had Rick Rose, who's from Texas, but he was on that show, Chasing Houston. And I remember he went by the name Valentino, and he had his own clothing line. He took off his shirt, and he's like the gay Rick Ross, so to speak. Then you had this guy. Now, this guy named Vandal. Vandal's from Philly, and Vandal was given trade. And he basically was like, I fight, I handle mine, and I don't really care, I'm about that life. Then you had this guy named not Tyrell. Tyrell was from 305. He was from Miami, and he was cool. Then you had this guy named Terry. And this guy basically did porn. And he was at the top 2% on OnlyFans. And then he basically was like, I'm 10 to 12 inches. So Anthony is a connoisseur of gay porn, you know. Then you had another guy named Trey Sean from the Motor City. And Anthony's like, I recognize you too. I recognize you. You do porn. He was like, yes, I do. And he's on OnlyFans and stuff. And Anthony asked him, you a top or a bottom? No. Relly B asked him, you top or bottom? He was like, I'm verse. So that's, in their world, he gets more money. So then we have this dispute with this guy named David from Cali. Now, we saw David from Cali in the beginning. David from Cali basically comes to the front of the table. And Relly B's like, you ain't getting in. You're not coming. You're not getting through. He be like, what? And he was like, not getting through because you disrespected my managers. And he was like, who's your managers? He's like, my managers from the show, my cast. So he was like, the whole cast. He was like, I didn't disrespect anybody. He said, yes, you did. You disrespected a lady at the whole, you disrespected one of the managers. You did. He was like, no, I didn't. He was like, yes, you did. He was like, first of all, I'm here for a fundraising consultant. And the lady told me to get out. I'm doing a political fundraising consultant. And I just disrespected. He said, yes, you did. So he's like, what's up? What's up? So he tries to fight him, but the producers hold him back. Now, here's my thing with this. Was you a political fundraiser, doing a political fundraising consultant at this hotel, or were you trying to get in to the Bad Boys auditions, or were you trying to finesse to do both? And here's why. Nobody is going to audition for a show like Bad Boys Houston, knowing what it comes with on Zeus, and you fundraising for a political campaign. Stop with the BS. Stop it. And then he had on these pearls around his neck. I'm like, boy, bye. You was fake from the jump. And then you had a couple of people that was there that basically, you know, like this guy named Jay Nasty from Sad Alice, which is a code word for Dallas. Gio lied and said he was 26. Then there was this guy named Charles from Texas. And they was like, you look old. He was like, how old? So he gave his age and he was like, oh, you older than Milan? He was like, no, I'm in my 30s. So Anthony's like, Milan's 42. So I'm going to say, oh, and then, okay, the last one, you had somebody named Jakari from Virginia who dressed like a supermodel. It looked like a supermodel, but identified as a boy. All around entertainer, singer, dancer, actress, model. And really was really, I would say, really gave good face. Now I'm going to go with the bad part about all of this. The end of it, the fight that happened with this guy named Paul, who looked like he didn't even belong there, and this guy named Aaron, who was from DC. Aaron was rude. Aaron deserved to get his ass beat, but Paul didn't deliver, so Paul basically got kicked out. They heckled and said, fight, fight, fight. And that was wrong. And Relly B, you doing the same thing that you did in season 1. When you wanted William the baddest and Dylan the baddest to fight. I need for these people who do these shows on Zeus to stop with this fighting. Because somebody's going to get seriously hurt. And it's going to cause your whole network to be kaput. This could have been handled in a much classier way. Yes, you know you want people to turn up. Yes, you want everyone to have fun. But what you don't want is liabilities and fighting. You don't want black men who are gay to look bad, horribly. If that's what you're doing, you're basically doing a disservice to their community. Because you wouldn't be doing this to white people. White gays would not allow you to do it. This is exploitation at its highest when it comes to that. Now, Bad Boys, here's my thing with this. Why is it that all that you see predominantly are gay black men, trans men, you know, fluid men? why isn't it most balanced, Because let's be real. When you think of a bad boy, you think of an outlaw. You think of a man's man. You think of someone who can handle both the family, money, family, business, the streets. And I'm not talking about in terms of narc, if you get my drift. I'm talking about being an outlaw, sometimes, having to take matters in your own hands, if you get my drift. Not on that way, but I'm just giving examples. You got to be able to take risk. That's what being a bad boy is, taking risks. The problem I'm having is we've gone from 30 years ago to the black male image being masculine, okay? To now the black male image it's been broken. And I'm not blaming the people that was auditioning. I want to make that clear. I'm blaming the media for this. And Lemuel, you're wrong for this, because you could do better, because you're married to a woman. Why aren't you making sure that there are more men who are heterosexual on these shows? This should be balanced, because it's like you're exploiting them. Because here's my thing. Straight men ain't going to really go for what y'all trying to go for on these shows. I think that's why you're not seeing them. And another thing I have to say is Natalie is the breakout star of Zeus. It's not Jocelyn. And Jocelyn, because of what happened with Amber, which I've said what I had to say, she lost that coveted spot. Okay? Natalie got Houston, got Los Angeles for the Bad Boys franchise, and she got Atlanta and the whole South for the Baddies franchise. She's the queen of Zeus, besides Janeisha. And you're going to see that Jocelyn don't even like Natalie anymore as it is. But now, Natalie's the top dog. Look what she got. She had a whole auditorium for auditions. Jocelyn didn't have that, never had that for Jocelyn's Cabaret. And her name was on the show. Natalie's name wasn't even on the show. And look, you see that? So I'm just going to, sign off. And I want to say Jonathan is a star, his own right, talented hairstylist. But Jonathan, I'm going to need you to work them hands and magic for your talent, your gift. You don't need to fight. You don't need to fight. You got this in the bag. You don't need to do rash and stuff like that. But I get it. You from Sad Alice. I'm going to start saying that. Sad Alice, Dallas. And you about that life. And, this could be better, organized. But Lemmy and his crew doesn't want that. And that's really sad. And with that being said, it's your girl, Miss Anna Little. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to this commentary and review of Bad Boys Houston Auditions Part 1. And if you would like to share this, please do. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. We're 3,000K plus strong. And also comment, hit the notification bell to receive future notices on commentary uploads and lives. And I will talk to you later, because I'm going to bed. Good night.